This interview is part of the Baltic Bridge project. No part of this interview may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized Baltic Bridge representative. Today is Friday, January 20th, 2017 at 3:30 p.m. We are in the Lithuanian Embassy in the United Kingdom, speaking with Her Excellency Ambassador Asta Skaisgiryte, the current Lithuanian ambassador to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland since 2012. Before you became ambassador in the UK, you also served as the ambassador to the State of Israel from 2006 to 2009 and ambassador to the French Republic from 1998 to 2003. Could you please share a few memorable moments, projects, or challenges that you experienced in your role as ambassador to both of these countries? So if you could please remember a memorable story in each.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming to the Lithuanian Embassy in London and interviewing me. Indeed, you are asking very interesting questions, very good questions of memorable moments. And you know, during the quite a long career, there were quite a few. But if you are interested in something that really sticks in my memory, France. Yeah? You mentioned that I was ambassador to France, and it was a very challenging period for Lithuania. Why? Because we were already independent, but we were still struggling to become members of NATO and the European Union. If you remember well, so we became members of two organizations in 2004. So during my term in Paris, this was just a period to prepare for Lithuania to enter these organizations and also to persuade the French government to accept Lithuania in this organization. Of course, not only the French government, there were quite a few governments to be persuaded why Lithuania would be a good member of NATO and of the European Union. And that was the most exciting, you know. Many talks, many discussions on different levels with the government members, with members of the political opposition, with members of businesses, also involving the Lithuanian community, a small Lithuanian community living in France. Everybody together to lobby for Lithuania becoming a member. And we did succeed, so that was very good. Another memorable moment was probably connected with our history, pre-war history. So the history goes back to 1940, when Lithuania was occupied by the Soviet Union, and all the embassies abroad were requested to be given out to the Soviets. And the Lithuanian ambassador to France at that time, his name was Asta Skaisgiryte, refused to do that. He just locked the embassy. He put the key at the French Paris municipality and said that, well, an embassy should be given diplomatic immunity. The key is here, and he leaves the embassy premises. Well, of course, the historical situation was such that the French municipality, the French government, gave our embassy premises to the Soviet Union a few days later. So when Lithuania became independent, one of our goals was to regain our property taken away by the Soviets back during the Second World War. So I went to the French municipality in Paris and asked for my keys. Of course, they said, we don't have any keys, the Russians. And I said, okay, it's not my problem. The embassy should be given the immunity, and if it was not given by the French authorities, well, let's discuss how we face the situation. So we had a rather tough negotiations. I understand that the French government talked with the Soviet, well, with already Russian Federation as a successor of the Soviet Union legally, but they understood that there is no way that the Russians will give back the property. So the French government paid a considerable sum of money, a kind of compensation, to and for this money we bought a different building, also a very nice, I would say, Parisian house, a former house of one of the French composers. His name is Ernest Chausson. He was a contemporary of Claude Debussy and played the same kind of music. So this was originally his house, and later on the house was taken by French organizations, and later on became our house. So that was another memorable moment, a beautiful moment, I would say.
Thank you.
And if you speak about Israel, and that was about 10 years ago, I was in Israel. So that my period in Israel is completely different. You know, it's a different time, different settings, and you know, Middle East, very different country. But I would say the biggest challenge at that time for somebody serving for the Lithuanian government in Israel was to find an understanding between Lithuanians in Lithuania and Lithuanian Jewish community in Israel. We counted about 200,000 Lithuanian Jews living in Israel. So it's quite a big community, very bright community. They are in the government, they are in businesses, but they still remember the Holocaust. And the biggest challenge was perhaps to make bridges between Lithuania and those Jews, Lithuanian Jews living in Israel. And I think the work is still not finished. It's still
Thank you.
Thank you.
In 2016 of June, the UK held a referendum and the votes were cast in favor of leaving the European Union. How have you seen Brexit affect the Lithuanian diaspora?
Well, I must say that Brexit referendum is not only about Lithuanian diaspora. Yeah, it's one of the aspects, but not the only one. Yeah, so we have a very complex situation with the future Brexit. First of all, we don't know on what terms UK will leave the European Union. We don't know yet. It's an object of discussions, and it's an object of negotiations between the UK and the EU. Yeah? And these terms are important because it will affect our economic relations in terms of trade and investment. It will affect also the political relations because we will be losing a very important partner and ally around the table, around the EU table. And indeed, we have very similar common views on what's going on in the world. We see the world global situation in very similar terms. The situation that's going on in the US and Russia, around the world. So to lose Britain on this account is a big loss. And of course, you are talking about the Lithuanian community. We have about 200,000 Lithuanians living and working and studying in the UK. So another big question is to secure their rights as EU citizens. So you see there is a complex of very different issues here to be tackled during the next 2 years.
What do you hope to achieve as a Lithuanian ambassador to the UK, and how have your past 5 years here influenced or shaped you in your role as ambassador?
You know, in the big picture, in the relationship between Lithuania and the UK, we are doing very well. We have no political problems. Our bilateral trade is flourishing. We are doing more than £1 billion per year of bilateral trade. British soldiers are in the Baltic countries, which is very important in terms of security and defense. So I would say on bilateral side, everything is fine. It could be, of course, of everything more and more cultural, perhaps, more educational exchange, more academic exchange. But it's going fine. the big question is, of course, the future British role in Europe. Our British counterparts have said a few times they're leaving European Union, they don't leave Europe, which is good. So what's their role in Europe? And that is the question for the future.
In a 2013 interview, you encouraged audiences to embrace innovation and startups. How have you seen this entrepreneurship spirit both in Lithuania and the diaspora community? And more broadly, how do you think this reflects upon Lithuania's contemporary business landscape?
Yeah, that's a very good question because, you know that Lithuania projects itself as a country friendly for innovations, startup country, if you like. And lately I have seen the development of startups jumping in Lithuania. They're really on the rise. Some of this know-how is taken from here because young people, young Lithuanians who are studying in the UK, they come back to Lithuania and they start their businesses. Lately, an aspect of these innovations is financial services and financial services innovation. Fintech is the very fashionable word nowadays, and we see that Lithuanian IT guys are doing a lot also for British companies in IT. Well, we have an example of Barclays in Lithuania. Barclays IT Center is in Vilnius, in the greenhouse. You probably know that. So it's and you know, when Barclays started their project in Lithuania, they said, okay, it's about 500 people. It's a big center. Now they have 1,200 people over there, and still it's not the limit. So all Barclays applications, all their software are being created in Vilnius, which I'm very happy about.
Given the political situation today for the U.S., is there anything on those ties that you would like to comment? Anything?
As we are meeting at a very symbolic date when President Trump is being inaugurated in the United States, and Vidas cannot wait to go back to his computer to watch it live. I must say that the United States are perhaps the most important Lithuanian partner around the world, and their engagement in Lithuanian security and defense is of crucial importance. So we do hope that the new president will continue to support us in our defense aspirations and our security aspirations. That's my wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, what message would you like to tell Lithuanian youth around the world?
Yes, well, the message is simple, but I think very strong. Lithuanians around the world, wherever you are, wherever you live, don't forget that your home country is Lithuania. Speak Lithuanian language, cherish Lithuanian customs and traditions, and be Lithuanians in our hearts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.